You ever watch movies with someone and you've already seen the movie, but you're watching it again with them and they're asking you throughout the movie, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? Does that annoy you? It does me. I don't like to tell them. I like for them to see it, experience, or otherwise, why are you even watching the movie, right? 2025, I'm not gonna lie. Normally, I'm not that person, but if I had a remote control to where I could fast forward to see what's up next, bro, I would do it. This would be one time where I would make an exception to the rule for me. I would go like Adam Sandler knew what he was doing when he made that movie Click. Like he was on to something. Seriously, bro. Seriously. Just think I definitely would fast forward just to see. Just to see. But anyway, let's get to the matters. Listen, man, y'all know how this goes. Question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
Accounts of UAPs emerging from or submerging into our water, which could indicate a base or presence beneath the ocean's surface.
I don't know about a base, but, as I mentioned, I had a different source entirely describe this pretty extraordinary footage that exists of orbs, of an orb coming out of the ocean and being met by another orb.
And seems like there's still...
If you don't know what an orb is, it's a light. So they just admitted to seeing lights coming from the ocean, flying around, intelligent lights. For so long, my wife and I, we've been teaching as well as friends, and we begin mocked, saying that marine spirits exist. There is a such thing as a marine kingdom, and given scripture to back it up. You could go look at my videos from years and years ago, my wife's videos. And here the government just casually admits that, yeah, we've been seeing orbs, intelligent orbs coming from the ocean. And I'm gathering from this as well as other reports that they've said. And some of you watch the whole thing, you know what I'm talking about. That reminds me of this in Job where it says, dead things are formed from under the waters. The RB says it like this, behold, the giants grown under the waters. And the Young's literal translation says the Rephaim are formed beneath the waters. The Hebrew word that's used here literally means spirit, go shade. So it interlocks spirits with giants. Here's a clue. Spirits, demons, are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. This is why. But it talks about they're underneath the waters. That's tied with these orbs. This is why you also see, and I've been teaching this for years as well, and people have been making videos, and it's not true, but when Jesus was going to cast out demons, a storm pops up, he rebukes the storm. That storm was not from the Father because Jesus would never rebuke something that the Father sent. That was a demonic power that sent that storm. Jesus rebuked it and it ceased. It would have been what they believed to be Poseidon of that day. And notice when Jesus went to the other side, cast the demons out, where did the demons go? Into the pigs. Or where did the pigs go? Into the water. You take a look in the Old Testament, the Philistines worshipped a false god by the name of Dagon. What was Dagon? A merman. Water spirit. You see, the Bible also talks about Leviathan, the twisted serpent of the sea. So yes, the Bible has a lot to say about these spirits underneath the water. And the government just casually admitted that they've seen them. So all these Christians and all these people saying that we're loony because we talk about this, no, it's Bible. And the government just came out and admitted it. To deny both of those just means you're in denial. For those of you that want to learn more about this, because I'm going to be posting a lot of videos.
And that's what I think it simply boils down to. A lot of people are running from it. A lot of people are in serious denial of the possibility of this all being true, of this all being an elaborate cover-up, disguised and done up by the government. Like everybody that does not believe or have some interest is just calling everyone cuckoo or crazy is in denial. There's way too many things being said by people who have like real good credibility. Like it's way too much being said for you to not even at least entertain it. You're in denial.
I'm trying to figure out, right? These are human footprints. What is this? I'm a little scared, but what is that? Let me zoom in some. Those are not footprints. What is that? And it goes all the way back here. I'm telling you, those are not human footprints. Like I said, I just stepped. Those are footprints. What the hell is that? Somebody tell me. And it goes all the way up into the woods. I don't know. Something just don't seem right and I don't feel safe. I'm trying not to be scared because my niece keeps telling me stop being scared. And the craziest thing, is that I asked her to look for it on the video camera, right? And she said the ring cam went offline, the side camera went offline, and then when it came back online, here were the prints. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. But what is that? Those are not footprints. Somebody tell me, what is that? Going all the way down to the mailbox. I don't know. Any advice? I'm trying to figure.
My advice is go back in the house. That's my advice. Don't be a hero. That's my second advice. Don't go being an investigator and going out in the woods trying to see what it is. Third advice. I think you got enough advice from me. You know what I mean? At least enough to keep you safe. Stay in the house, call somebody, authorities or whatever. But yeah, I ain't going to find out. Because most people be like, oh, that's probably somebody on some skis, snowshoes, something like that. I don't know. But yeah. I'm not going to investigate it. No. So yeah, we gave you good advice.
What? What in the world? That was 30 seconds of, like, explosions. What in the heck? What?
And nobody knows nothing. Nobody says anything. Like nobody has an explanation for quake sounds or explosion sounds or whatever going off in the sky early in the morning. Like, come on, like what's happening? What's going on?
You got iPhone tapping your phone, recording all your calls. You got TikTok threatening to ban y'all just so they can take y'all ideas and throw it right back in y'all face next year around this time, like they do every year. You got Facebook only talking about deaths, funerals. You got Instagram, everybody on there clapping, twerking. You got Snapchat, everybody want to show fast videos just to show how fresh they is and get out. All these apps is stealing energy from your. You go out and get fresh every day just to jump on 5 different apps to become a different character on each app, and you can use on every app by these and never seen their face. How that feel? You can use that never seen their face like coming in your house stealing from you, and you can never catch them. That's how these apps is to y'all. Take your energy back.
Hey, one thing he does have, he hit the nail on the head on, bro. Like Facebook. Like after I told y'all, or some of y'all might have heard me say it, but last year, bro, I probably lost the most amount of people in my family that I ever lost. Right, a lot of deaths. I think I went to way more funerals than I've ever been last year than in my entire life. Right, it seemed like every time it got to a point where I stopped logging on to Facebook because it started just being associated with death to me. Like every time. Like I started referring to it as the obituary app. So I feel them on that, man. Some of these apps, bro, it steals your energy sometimes. And it's not good. So sometimes you have to take a break. And I had to take a break from a few of those apps sometime, man, because it was really, really taking my energy away. So I feel them on that.
A whistleblower came forward saying that they were involved in a mid-air collision between a metallic object and the Gulfstream jet on December 11th at approximately 27,000 feet and resulted in engine failure and an emergency landing. They said it may be a drone, but the movement and the characteristics were very atypical. The pilot said that he is highly concerned because this altitude is highly regulated and there were no flight plans and the object was not transponding. And the FAA requires any object in the airspace at this altitude to have those things. They went down a process of elimination, which reads as follows. A weather balloon would have been transponding. This altitude is too high for hobby drones and illegal for any drone. There's no biological indicator of a bird strike, which is what took down that Jeju air flight in December. And video of the engine shows metal damage. They said that they are concerned the incident is being downplayed by the FAA and reported as an incident and not an accident, because reported as an accident, it would be required to do a public announcement and a thorough investigation. And here is a photo of the flight path for the flight tracker that shows the original path, the collision, and them going back for a landing after this happened. So now that somebody's finally come forward about this, do you think we're finally going to get answers on what is flying in our skies? A whistleblower came forward.
If I'm these pilots, bro, it's time for us to go on strike. Come together as a collective and say, no, we're not doing this. Like, you're going to have nobody to fly your planes because this isn't safe. We already seen the incidents with the wildfires. Like the drone that hit the actual Canadian plane that we were borrowing, by the way, to help us and assist us in putting out these fires. And one had to stop because it was hit, or it hit a drone that was flying up there that had no business flying up there. We have a serious problem right now. And it seems like no one's addressing it. So until further notice, if I'm a pilot, and I'm trying my best not to go out there, and I'm trying to get as many people as I can. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, you need that paycheck. You need to work. You need to make money. So it's hard for you to do sometimes, but boy, this is one of those times where I wish they would have some kind of way to be able to have some supplemental income coming from somewhere so they could stop. Because this isn't safe.
I was signed to R. Kelly, and allegations started coming out about Robert Kelly. And it was shocking to me, but I did see a lot of really young girls coming to the studio, and they would set up stripper poles for the girls to dance to inspire the men that were recording. And I was very young, so I was very naive when the girls would come in and say, oh, we're dancers. I thought like performers. And so as the years went on, I witnessed a lot. I witnessed a lot of pressure to young people in this business with your career dangling. But for most of the talent out there, including the girls that I worked with, they're scared to come forward. They think they won't have a career. Or if they were to speak, something could happen to them. Just because someone looks perfect and professional and they're talented does not mean that they can't be a predator. And how many women need to tell you what they've endured before you believe them? I was signed to R. Kelly, an allegation.
Listen, man, this stuff is still continuing on, which is crazy, by the way. I just saw a post, I want to say it was yesterday, maybe this morning, where they were talking about how Justin Bieber was unfollowing Usher. And which is strange, by the way, but you know where everybody's mind automatically starts to think of when you see something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't look good. Let's just say that when you see that happen. So, and it's crazy that we're here nowadays. When somebody unfollows somebody, it's a big thing. But that's the climate that we live in. It says something. It's almost like a clue. And you're trying to put together this puzzle of clues to figure out what's happened or what's going on. So, yeah, man, like, unfortunately, we're going to be hearing about these stories for times to come.
Wouldn't it be crazy if Thomas Jefferson once warned that banking establishments were far more dangerous than any standing army? Wouldn't it be crazy if in 1886, America enshrined the 14th Amendment, which pretty much gave personhood to corporations, which has had long-standing repercussions on the American economy? Wouldn't it be crazy if J.P. Morgan wanted to establish a centralized banking system in America, but was opposed by many rivals, all of whom died on the Titanic, by the way? I'm sure a lot of you know that. And then wouldn't it be crazy if in 1913 the Federal Reserve was established in America, and shortly after that World War I broke out? Shocker. And wouldn't it be crazy if in 1933 the American government went bankrupt again for the third time and signed an agreement with central bankers to essentially turn every American citizen into a government bond, which, yes, is just basically slavery with extra steps? And then I guess it'd be really crazy if in 1971, America removed itself from the gold standard, creating fiat money, a fiat money system, which is essentially ensuring a society will stay in debt perpetually. You know, it also created the petrodollar, which has allowed America to download its inflation across the world. It's very complex. Yeah. And wouldn't it be crazy if Omar Gaddafi turned Libya from the poorest nation in Africa to the richest with zero debt, 143 tons of gold reserves, and he wanted to form a United States of Africa with its own gold-backed dollar? Wow, that would have been a big threat to American banking systems, wouldn't it? We all know what happened to Gaddafi and what just happened to Syria. Wow. And what they want to do to the rest. And wouldn't it be crazy if the 2008 mortgage crisis was essentially the largest heist ever committed in human history? And literally no one went to jail for that. No one paid any price for that. We bailed out the banks, and we're living in the aftermath of that here in 2024. And wouldn't it be crazy if I just suggested that America's pretty much just like just one big bank, and all these wars are happening because of banks? I guess that'd be kind of crazy.
発生の可能性が相対的に高まったかどうかについて評価を行うため、臨時の評価検討会及び判定会を開催いたします。本日は
Yeah, at this point, I don't know who grabbed a set of dice and rolled craps at the beginning of the year, but man, don't let that person hold the dice no more. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. This is insane. And get me off of that plane, by the way. You saw those people sitting on that plane all just calm and cool. No. Earthquake just hit, and I get some people be like, "Well, wouldn't you rather be in the air?" Well, you might be right. But I'm not a normal person. Get me off that plane. Get me off that plane.
The story that kind of disappeared at a very sudden. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you said that you knew you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about it?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones. And it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor. You're going to say.
I was going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is.
The story that kind of disappeared.
All right, mark the calendars, y'all. We gonna see. I want to know. The world wants to know. America wants to know. Everybody wants to know what is going on. What this is. You know what I mean? Tired of being told that we're crazy and that's not what it is, and we're not seeing what we're seeing. No, we got eyes. My eyes work some of the time. Some of the time they work. But I know what I'm seeing out here, and I know what everybody's seeing and reporting and posting videos of. And this ain't normal. And the people telling them, oh, that's just a plane. That's just a plane. That is not just a plane. Yes, there are planes going through the air, but that's not a plane right there that we're seeing. No. And they're hovering over our houses. Like, come on. But the fact that they don't think we deserve to know is a problem. That's a huge problem.
This is my house.
Give me 30 seconds. And Bass, I think every taxpayer in America, including those in California, would like to tie this aid to removing Newsom and Bass. Now, gone. Part of the deal would be, and I know Trump likes new ideas, here's one, not a dime until those two are whacked from their jobs. Immediately. They are so incompetent, and all of the decisions they've made led to this, and they're still making mistakes. They're horrific managers. Whack them.
Give me 30 seconds. And he didn't say whack them, did he? Somebody been watching some old mob movies and stuff like that, or The Sopranos here lately.
Meanwhile, as we talk about all these multi-million-dollar homes, there are some very important people on the fire lines who are finally getting to share their voice as well, in part thanks to a pretty big Twitch streamer, Hassan Piker. You might have already seen shots of inmates out there on the fire lines. Right now, there are like 900 to 1,000 of them. It's a program that's been around for a while here in California, but what is catching people's attention, well, part of it is the pay. It's like $10 a day. They can earn a little bit more when actively fighting fires, an additional $1 an hour during emergencies, and working in that program can also get them some time off their sentence, and for some, record expungement. But joining us now is Twitch streamer and YouTuber Hassan Piker. He lives out here in LA. He headed out to where they've been staging to help shed some light on what they do. To help the rest of us out here. Hassan, thanks so much for being with you. But before we get into this, I do want to play a clip of this interview for viewers. It was a fascinating interview. I think you talked to a man by the name of Williams. Let's take a quick look.
Right now they're on break, right? They're doing 24 hours off. But when you're back out there, you sleep out there. Yeah, absolutely. Right? So they give you like what? Like they give you gear and then they give you like sleeping gear?
Pretty much what you got right here. And then you got your Nomex on, your Nomex shirt on.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all.
They don't give you any sleeping gear?
No, not on the mountain.
And Hassan, we've been with inmate crews. I've never seen them.
What? Hold on. Now, mind you, I'm gonna tell you what I slept on when I went to the sugar refinery fire in Savannah. We ended up staying there because we had to do fire watch as well. So we stayed there overnight, and they had some cots. You know what I mean? Grant, we didn't go to no hotel or nothing like that. We laid on some cots, and that's what we did. And we laid in there in shifts of people because we needed around the clock watch to be able to check the systems that are supplying water and everything like that we had to do. So we laid in there on some cots. That's what we had. But bro, they have nothing. That's crazy. That's inhumane. Come on, man.
Give such insight as they did with you. If you get a chance, anybody that's watching, they should check out your whole clip. What was your impression of what it's like for them and the work that they're doing right now?
I had an incredible opportunity to be able to talk to these guys directly, uninterrupted, in a very real setting when they were on their 24-hour break because of the wonderful work that Scott Budnick, he's a Hollywood producer, and he started the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, is doing specifically with the incarcerated firefighters. And in that process, I found their experience to be very dignified from their own assessment. The fact that they were able to contribute back to their communities was something that they truly appreciated in terms of the opportunity, although the conditions are still obviously very grim. And one of the major things that they brought up was, of course, the wages, as you guys also pointed out to. Right now, I believe it's around $24 a day when they're actively fighting wildfires. And I think that is one area that desperately needs improvement. Another thing that I was also shocked by was the fact that in order to be able to volunteer for this program, you actually leave prison and go to a conservation camp to get training, and then you remain there when you're not actively out in the field fighting fires. And one thing that they mentioned were the comparably much more humane conditions at conservation camps. Some of the inmates reported that they had access to weight training facilities and like actual real weights. Apparently, in California prisons, you don't have access to real weights any longer. And little things like that, I think, go a very long way in making inmates feel human again, and making inmates feel like real people rather than cogs in a machine. And I think that is tremendously helpful in rehabilitation and the rehabilitative process, and also helping them reintegrate back into society after they're done serving their time.
Yeah, one of the most fascinating parts of the interview, I thought, was when you started to ask them about what this was like compared to what it's like in lockup. If we have some of that, can we play a little quick clip there?
Is it better than being in prison or no?
It's way better, because I was in a prison yard. I'm seeing guys get stabbed, get jumped, get beat up. The cops treat us like but here, we get better treatment, right? They talk to us like humans. They talk to us like humans. We got a job. We're underpaid, but we got a job. Yeah. You feel me? And then the community comes out and shows us all kinds of love. We never received that growing up. We never received that kind of love, that kind of recognition of anything we've done. So now, doing this kind of stuff and all this love coming, that's life-changing.
Yeah, we never received that growing up. I mean, like, again, this interview is absolutely fascinating. Do you think it's working?
I think the incarcerated firefighter program is pretty successful in terms of finding a lot of the people that are slated for rehabilitation, and it seemingly has been very successful as far as what they have reported. Another thing that they kept repeating over and over again was the fact that inside of the camp structure, there's a lot more unity. There's no racial tension or animosity of the sort. There's no violence, because
there's no place for it. There's no room for it. You need every person on that line. Everybody has a specific job and role to do. You need that, bro. That's a brotherhood. That's a brotherhood that in a bond that's hard. Like I said, I haven't worked there in years, and I'm still cool and tight with the guys that I went through it with, because we went through things, man, and you built a brotherhood with that person because you knew that person wasn't gonna leave you behind. You knew that person was gonna be there when you needed him or when he needed you, and y'all was gonna go through this, bro, and fight this thing and go through the depths and of hell, bro. Like, so the type of love you have for that person it can't be broken. It cannot be broken, man. I'm telling you, bro, that it's a different feeling, because you in some of the worst conditions ever, where in a blink of an eye something can go wrong. But you trust the person behind you, in front of you, trust the person on the radio telling you what's going on the outside, what type of condition. You have to have so much trust, and that's built through the training that you guys go through when there is no fire. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like sports, football, basketball, everything, how they rely on one another in that team environment. This is the same thing. Life or death.
Desperately do not want to go back to the regular prison structure, as Kimbo also pointed out right there, because there's a lot of violence in regular prison. And I think that it is not only an example of the success of the program itself, but I think it's also a criticism of the current carceral state in a state like California, where the prison structure needs desperate reform so that the entirety of the California prison system could look closer to the camp conditions that exist right now that help, I think, tremendously in the rehabilitative process.
Yeah, it's so cool to see the sense of pride and giving back to the community. I mean, we all owe them a huge thanks, and thanks to you for helping shed light on what they're going through. I mean, we've been on the fire lines, and fire lines are hell. So kudos to all those guys that are out there doing the work. Hassan Piker, thanks so much for joining us, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching.
My mind is blown because I thought there were more programs out there. Like I said, the one where I got certified, where I went to, had the prison system there. So I just automatically assumed that it was like that all over the country. They had different places and prison camps that had like fire brigade systems or teams, or, you know what I mean, groups of firefighters that they had. I didn't know it was just in few places. Like, I don't know if you could look it up in Forsyth, Georgia. Forsyth, is it Forsyth spelled like that? Something like that. And then it's actually Gypstick. GPSTC, I think it is. GPSTC, we call it Gypstick. Is where I got certified. And they had one there. So I just thought that it was like that all over. But yeah, man, that's a heck of a program. You give somebody something to look forward to. You give their life purpose and meaning. And maybe not all, but majority of them may take it serious, bro, which leads to a career when they get out. And what better way, man, to have purpose and to have, you know what I mean? People look up to you. Kids look up to you. People appreciate you. It gives you that purpose, and it changes your life. I always tell people it made me grow up. I got into it when I was super young. And it made me grow up, turned me into a man, gave me responsibility, taught me how to be an adult, taught me how to act, taught me how to respond and do different things like that. Man, it really matured me. I don't know where I would be without that. So yeah, programs like that are needed, fam. I thought they were everywhere, but if they're not, they really need to look into them, because that could definitely help.